What's good, folks? Welcome to Sunday Brunch with Chris on this Sunday, June 21st. As always, starting a couple minutes late. I have this weird thing where I switch my cameras, I switch lights, I do something. Every week there's something different. So this week I will try to make it look like I am not reporting from beyond the grave. Unfortunately, now I look like I've spent a little bit of time at a tanning salon. But thanks for coming out anyway. My name's Chris, also known as BatteryPowered. Super glad that you are all choosing to join us today. And looking over to the chat, Texan02, thank you, man. What's up? Good to see you. Jason C, K Hodge, technically lurking, and Apple Monster. Hey, thank you all. And if you're catching this on the replay, even cooler. Thank you very, very much. Now, I have a couple of things. Number one, first off, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And to all of you who are fortunate enough to have dads, happy Father's Day or Grandfather's Day or whatever it might be to all of you guys. I hope you have a great, enjoyable, relaxing day. And I hope that this stream is, well, I hope it's like the part of it. Maybe because you're watching it, right? So also, I know I've got some folks going over on Twitch. For you guys, thanks again for joining. Good to see you. And Twitch has some strange moderation thing going on, so I've got to figure out my chat over there. So I will not be chatting on Twitch. I will be chatting on YouTube. So yes, an Apple Monster is saying, Chris, if you put yourself in a toaster, yeah, that's exactly what's going on. It's been an interesting situation here. You know, green screen, lighting, camera, microphones, all that good stuff. So anyways, going back to the chat, I've got a couple of topics today that are interesting. I paid a visit to an Apple store yesterday. First time in a minute that I've done that, and it was clear that everybody has not. it's not happened for anyone yet. The people working there or the people visiting. So that was kind of interesting. But also, I got some interestingness about WWDC. But first, going back to the chat, Tech702 is going to. Yeah, I think you're driving right now, if I'm not mistaken. So whiskey might be a bad choice, but hold off a little bit. The interesting thing, I did not look at Twitter prior to the show, but you're saying Prosser just tweeted no hardware tomorrow. That is not that surprising to me if that's true. If that really does materialize like that, I could see that. That will screw things up, of course, just a little bit. But I could totally understand that. And of course, yeah, I mean, they're doing this whole, I mean, for those who live under a rock, WWDC is typically an in-person thing. This year, they're doing it digitally. I know everyone's had it tattooed into their brain at this point, so I'm just going to shut up. Yes, we all got the invite. Yes, there's a keynote. We all know about that. We don't need to talk about it. But tomorrow night, we will be talking about it on Tech Circus, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, over on the Tech Circus channel, which will be linked down here after the show. So come check us out. Myself, Michael Pepper from Pepper Live, and Tech702 Mike. So, yeah, I don't really see too much else to hit on there. So, a burner account. I don't think K Hodge is actually a burner account. I think K Hodge is a real person. And, yeah, Jason C says there's no hardware. It's WWDC. Apple doesn't care about a pandemic, which I think is very... Yeah, we'll see what happens. Tomorrow night will be very, very interesting. And like I said, come see us in Tech Circus. We'll be talking all about it, whatever happens. So first, I want to talk about I do have some thoughts about something that we haven't gone in depth on about WWDC and or really the later part of this year that Apple will be bringing. That I have changed I think what is my favorite Apple product for the year, if it really happens. So I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about my experience with the Apple Store. So I did, for the first time since like February of 2020 or March of 2020, I went to an Apple Store yesterday. I did the whole, putting your mask on and took all the safety precautions. Went there to order a battery case for my Pro Max because this thing without the battery case lasts, few hours. No, not really. Actually, I just want to see how long this thing will actually last with the battery case. So got that yesterday, went there, pre-ordered it, did all that stuff. First off, when you go to the website to order, or you go to the app to order, you now have to order inside of a time-constrained window. So you say, I'm going to go and pick it up on this day, and they just like an iPhone pre-order or reservation, they might actually tell you there's no pickup time. So screw yourself. So when I originally ordered it, I was trying to order it for Friday, I think, or Thursday. And they were like, sorry, you can't do that. You have to go the next day. That was weird. And then you have to select a time, like an hour window or a half-hour window that you're going to be there. So naturally, what I did was order it for a time when I knew I wouldn't be there and then go there afterwards and see what happened. So I did have to do the pre-order online for the pickup. Now, I originally thought I might just stop by and see what happens. But as it turns out, that's a really good thing I didn't, because while I was standing there, so you arrive to the Apple store, it looks a lot like a launch event. There were barriers outside of the store. The difference, though, instead of having the sheriffs outside like they usually do and a bunch of, enthusiasts and people with backpacks and gift cards, it was like the two sets of barriers. I assume one was for service and repair and one was for like sales appointments and stuff. There was a gentleman who did a walk-up while we were out there. And there were people literally standing at the front of the store, not permitting entrance. And this, I should say, this is in New Hampshire, by the way, for those who don't know. It's my locale. So the store staff actually stopped him, inquired what he was, there looking for, how they could help him. And he said, oh, I'm looking for an iPhone. And they said, cool, go online, make an appointment, come back, and you can get one, pretty much. So it looks like you can't go in the Apple store right now and browse. And at least this may not be official. This might not be formal. Apple probably has an updated website on this. But the real boots on the ground experience was they were not letting anybody in that did not have a urgent service matter or scheduled service appointment or a pickup. Now, the other thing that was very interesting is outside of the store, before you got into those tents of or into those little barriers, they weren't even tents of barriers. They were like legit brass things. Before you did that, some amount of people were being temperature scanned. I mentioned that they didn't have the sheriffs. They had a bunch of security folks out there. They had a flock of people, probably like 5 or 6 folks out there that were just doing temp scans, writing stuff down, and then cleaning the gear and then putting it back on the tray. And then, it was like a little rotation out there of people cleaning all the gear and making sure everything was sanitized. I was with my wife. She suggested maybe that was for Apple employees only, but it seemed like it was just regular consumers because there were kids with their mothers and other stuff. So I don't know what the whole protocol was, but I did not actually have to go through that. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe I lucked out. The one thing though, and I'm waiting for Tech 702 to ask this. I just want to let you know, Mike, in advance, it's not the kind of temperature taking that you don't have a choice. It's only the infrared stuff off your forehead. Sorry. Yeah. A flock of people I haven't seen. I have seen a flock of seagulls. Yes. Unfortunately, though, I'd get the copyright strike if I brought that up during the show, so I won't. And Michael Pepper says, yeah, they've closed some stores back up again, too. That's the other thing. I can't talk about the stupid crap going on in the world right now on this show, but yeah, that is important to note. There were supposed to be like 75 or so Apple stores opening back up. I was so fortunate that the ones near me, were able to do that. But yeah, there are a bunch of them now that Apple has announced they're reshutting. So they had like an opening announcement the other day, and then right after they're like, hey, we're actually shuttering a bunch of these things until the numbers drop. But from Apple's perspective, one thing I'm going to say right out front is the mall where I went to get into the mall, it was not very difficult to get into the mall. There was it looks like there was probably people keeping track of who was where and keeping count somewhere. But to just walk in, I had to have a mask on, and that's what all the signs said. And that's what the state ordinance was. To get into Apple, you had to have the temp check and the other stuff outside of Apple. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if it was everybody, but Apple had their own more stringent thing than what the state and the mall had in place, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, you go to a mall, there's a bunch of stores, a bunch of people. So making sure they're all adhering to some kind of standard, like a mask, is great, but making Apple going that extra mile was super cool. Now, the other part of this too is this is all outside the store. Before you can get in the store, you have to do all of that stuff, deal with everything. Now, I'm the guy there with the pickup, and that naturally my pickup was due the day before. So they scanned the process for me was, in the past, for those who don't know, you would go to the Apple store, you would have Wi-Fi on, Bluetooth on, you get picked up by an iBeacon, and then the app would essentially say, hey, do you want to pick this thing up? You'd say yes. You'd type in a brief description. I'm the guy not wearing pants in the aisle by the iPads, and they bring your thing out to you. Now it's different. Now it brings up a QR code. So when you walk up, you show them that QR code. They scan the QR code, you hold up your ID, and then I was admitted entrance into the store, and I was told to wait on a red dot. There was a bunch of little red dots placed strategically. No arrows, no guidance. You have a guide into the store. The guide stays about 6 feet away from you, tells you to stay away from everybody else, and then you wait on the red dot, and then someone comes over to you and takes you back to the other area. So the store was very different. Chris, did you take any pictures in the store? Yeah, I probably did. Let me see if I can get some up while I'm talking to you here. But the interesting thing inside of it was, once you're in there, there's not a lot of people in there. Obviously, it's a very, very low occupancy situation. The products that they have are like clustered. So where they used to have iPads, they used to have maybe 10 or 12 iPads on a table. Now they've got 3 or 4, but they're put over at the corners. I think Apple said they were going to do this. We saw a couple of leaked pictures and things, but it is not a lie. It is quite true. So the other thing as well is that Apple was, this is a weird move for Apple, being such a consumer experience company. They were so hell-bent on getting all of this hand sanitizer in there for everybody and their uncle to use, big quart-sized containers of hand sanitizer, which was amazing. I was super impressed by it. But the problem was, it's in dispenser bottles. Like not pump dispenser though, like sport, shake weight. The shake weight, that's great. I just memed myself. But it's like some sort of like a sports bottle type design. So like if you want to spray yourself on the face with it, maybe have like a little flash dance moment, that kind of thing. Yeah, I was quite confused by it, to be honest. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me why you'd have that. Like, have hand sanitizer in there, but have it in a method that the people in the store can actually get the crap out of the bottle. So that said, let me see if I can, let's do this whole thing. I know. I like to open my mouth for the shake weight for the appropriate photo. You know what? I think I could do it over here. Hang on a second. I'm going to throw throw some pictures up for y'all, because I know that's really what matters to everybody right now. Yep, I know. We're going to do that. Share the application and share. Oh, that's neat. It's not going to let me share Apple Photos because it's Chrome. Are you kidding? This has to be a joke. Okay. Well, let's try this. Let's see what happens. Let's see how bad this goes. We'll share that. Nope. It's just going to share my other window. All right, so this is kind of funny. It's actually messing with me. Folks in the chat, let me know. Did you actually see that pan over to a photo, or did you just see the control center for StreamYard sitting here the entire time? I know there's like a nanosecond here of delay, so I will wait just a moment, because I don't want to be like sharing just this window if that's all that's showing up. But it's really interesting that Apple... Oh, you did see the picture. Okay, cool. Well, then let me pop back over there. We will share the screen one. Cool. So this is inside the Apple Store. This is where we were waiting inside the little barrier area. And this was, they did have people waiting outside. So in this picture here, there are folks that are still outside kind of queued up. I'm not sure. I don't know what I did magically to get in. I think it's because I had to pick up from the day before and I kind of ignored my window. But that's what I look like when I'm inside the store. Note, I'm wearing a different shirt. So yeah. And then this is kind of the layout of things. They have, everything's kind of clustered in the corners. And yes, this is with a wide angle, so everything looks like a really, really strange looking iPhone. It's a little bit skewed. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I realize this is probably just like super exciting only to me, but it was interesting to get in there. And then this is some of the stuff that's going on outside. This is all the cart junk. And then there are little security folks out there that are taking everybody's temperatures. Unfortunately, Tech 702's least favorite way. And then that is, you saw this on Twitter. These are the stupid containers that they have. So like, it's great. I mean, you not only do you have to put your hands all over it, but you you really have to go full commit, I guess, if you want some hand sanitizer. Like, commit to touching the container, commit to emulating your favorite movie scene. It's a strange situation. So Yes, me with the yes, the lampshade and the Speedo. That's actually my background. So I'm glad to know that it's a little bit of motivation that I use sometimes when I'm on air. It's like, you got to realize you just got to perform. But yeah, so talking to the Apple guy, and I won't belabor this thing for too long. It was a neat experience. I got my damn case. The way it worked is they finally walked me down to somebody. This is the one part that was really, really strange. It's all about like contactless and all this stuff. So they wheel the product out on a cart, which I assume the cart's been sanitized, the person's been sanitized, whatever. They wheel it out, and then the guy that's talking to me just picks it up and throws it in the bag, and then very clearly like hands me the bag in a way so that like he was touching the bottom of the bag, and then he's handing me the top of it or whatever. It was just kind of silly. It's like this whole thing comes out on a cart. Just have it in a way so that you can scan the thing and then give the customer the product. You don't have to, whatever. If you're going to clean the cart, sanitize the cart, do whatever. The guy doesn't need to put the thing in a damn bag or bring it out in a bag. I don't know. It's just kind of stupid. You go through all this effort to do everything, and then the guy touches the thing and puts it in the bag, and it's like, whatever. So got it, left. Life was good. Life was grand. Talking to the employees in there a little bit, I was, my number one question that I love to ask, especially when it's like busy as hell or on a launch day, is I go, hey, is this very busy for you guys right now? Because you get a really interesting set of answers. And everyone said that they do not know what busy is yet. Everyone's still learning the process and kind of going through things to understand, all the different methods that they need to use now. And they're learning, things are getting better. But he said the best part is the customers are in there have been super understanding, and they, naturally, okay, my first question is always, how pissed off is everybody when they come in and talk to you? They haven't been able to get into an Apple store, whatever. The guy's like, honestly, we've been sitting around waiting to come back, so we're glad to be here. And then, of course, the customers are usually in need of something, and they've been heated to get back because apparently some folks have been able to get their stuff taken care of, like remote with a shipment or depots or whatnot. So between all parties, so far, everything has been well. We'll see how long that lasts. But there's obviously no line of sight to how long this is going to go on for. I think a lot of it has to do with state rules and guidance and regulations. And yes, Pepper, the lampshade is ironic. Well, I typically cast my rays all over the place. That's kind of how it works. But yeah, I haven't had surgery. I never injured myself with I never injured my shelf either. Injured myself with the shake weight, so I didn't need that surgery cone. So that was pretty cool. Other stuff. So WWDC is coming up tomorrow, which I'm pretty much bored of talking about it, to be honest. But there is one thing that I have been thinking about this whole time, really trying to come up with what is the thing that I'm most excited about? What is the thing that Apple and when I was on Viper Show briefly a couple weeks ago, one of the things was like, what's the product coming out this year that you're most excited by? And I've said a couple different things, iPad mini and, whatever, the mini LED stuff, and Apple's got all sorts of new crap in the rumor mill. But one thing that I think that can't be denied is AirTags. AirTags, they pretty much have to be coming. They have to be arriving at some point. Now, they might not show up at tomorrow, but they might not be, maybe they'll be announced or leaked or concepted or theoried or something like that. I feel like AirTags wouldn't be shipping to stores. They wouldn't drop them in the middle of all this stuff because, tomorrow is really the developers conference. This is where people get together and they see what Apple's kind of plans are for the future. Normally they drop some sort of hardware, some sort of, trinket or something. And then, or things magically show up in the store around the same time as that. But this is largely for developers to have a lot of time with, engineering resources and learn about what's new in the new software side of stuff. And then that software leads into new products later on in the year. So this isn't really all about products, but we usually get something anyway. So I was thinking about this, and I'm not sure that Apple would actually be dropping AirTags tomorrow until they've given devs an appropriate time to, to run on them, assuming that maybe iOS 14 enhances their operation. There's a lot of different history out there about the AirTags. Some say that they were supposed to be announced last year and then dropped this year. Some were saying that they had battery life issues on older phones. I mean, depending on whose rumors you listen to, bear in mind, Apple's never said anything about AirTags. But for me, I think something like this is a game changer for Apple. And in further reflection on it over the past week or two, I've been moving around iPhones as I always am. And I realized my Tile app has gotten more and more greedy. We're talking 12 to 15% of my battery greedy. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not traveling right now. I'm not out wandering the planet. Look, I mean, I was yesterday, but the tile wants like your background location, which is cool. I get it. It wants to help other people find their tile, which is cool. But it's using like 12 to 15% of my battery is absolutely ridiculous for that. And then this whole the app itself turns into a nag where if you install the app, you enable notifications for it, and then you exit the app without changing the settings, it just comes back and constantly harasses you. Hey, you should have location on always. Set your location on always. All this. I get it. I get all that stuff. But if you're doing all that stuff and you're causing me to lose 10+% of my battery life, this is across multiple devices, multiple vintages, multiple ages. The minimum has been like 8%, and that's when I literally didn't pick up my phone at all. But how dumb is it that, I mean, I get what Tile wants to do and using the Bluetooth fence and all the sort of crowdsourced data collection that they can do to find these little Bluetooth things. And don't get me wrong, I love Tile. I love it. But if Apple can bring what Tile does today and not cause me a significant battery penalty, I'm all in. For one thing, that's just one tiny thing. I mean, it took Tile years to get replaceable batteries and some other things like that, which were pretty good and pretty key. But like, there's a lot of intelligence that just seems to be lacking here. I mean, I even signed up for a Tile premium subscription last year to test that. I did a bunch of things with these trackers. I've got them on a few products that I own, that I kind of want to keep track of. But if I'm at my house and my house is in a interesting location where there's probably not a lot of people losing tiles, I'll just say that. Can't you do something to like chill that out in the background? Why are we burning 10% of my battery? I mean, I'm on Wi-Fi in a place that it's just kind of irritating. The other part that irritates me is, I mean, actually, I should look at this right now live. I meant to do this before the show, and I simply forgot. But Apple, there was a rumor that Apple was not selling Tile anymore. Let me just see. Thought I read that somewhere. Yeah, they did. Okay. Yep. All right. That was. I am not losing my mind. They did stop selling them, or at least the press came out and said that. Let's see what Apple actually has to say, because I wanted to check that. And because the whole angle is, stopping selling a Tile, all that stuff is one thing, but clearly you've got to have something in there. Oh, that's pretty neat. If you just search Tile on the Apple Store, it just gives you accessories, but then it gives you phones. There is nothing at all about Tile. It looks like Apple's never, ever sold Tile if you go to their website. And I'm not going to go to the Wayback Machine because that's all boring. So Apple not selling Tile, pushing that out, the need for some device like that, and just for awareness, I have had some really interesting experiences with Tile. I could probably put a whole video together of how, we lost a bag one time and the luggage went somewhere else. And thanks to, some employee's phone at an airport in another city, maybe pinging off that Tile, we were able to actually tell the gate agent at the arriving airport that we were at, where our luggage wasn't. We were able to tell them, it's actually here. Here's where it went. And that person was able to make some calls. I mean, we have some cool, really, really cool stories with Tile stuff, but at the same time, and it's weird. Like if I was traveling, I wouldn't mind it. I guess that's the whole thing of it. Optimize, right? Optimize it. Like use some more intelligence in the app. Don't always suck off my battery or my shake weight, and just make it perform a little bit better and cost a little bit less. And I think that's the way that Tile can move ahead. But really, that's why I'm looking forward to AirTags, because Apple's already got the Find My stuff baked in now. They are like baking it in. I think in iOS 14, I assume they're going to be doing something even better with background processes, improved Bluetooth connectivity, chips, bandwidth controls, all that stuff. I am super excited to see what comes along with that, because the ultra wideband chip that they've done with Bluetooth and the latest 11 Pros has been pretty cool, like doing AirDrop and some other things. So I'm super looking forward to what they're doing with that and with AirTag. I also think that, and this is the one thing that kind of dawned on me, is, there's a lot of talk about Apple pulling the headphones out of box. And then there's the crowd of people that says Apple's going to put AirPods in the box and sell a phone for a little bit more and stuff like that. I don't think so. I don't think that you're going to see them put anything. They're not going to give you anything. My friends, let me tell you something. Apple is not giving you anything. You will be paying for it. You'll be paying heftily for it. It will not be free at all. And actually, speaking of free, K Hodge says, why hasn't Tile stopped charging subscription fees during the pandemic? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's a trivia. I think it's like $30 a year or something like that. I mean, at the same time, in theory, Tile could probably put together like a pricing plan where it's not like a pay per use, but I think it's just easier for them to charge it that way. And I understand it's probably going to cost them more to cancel sub fees during the pandemic than not, even though people aren't leaving their homes. I'll be honest, I actually lose. I talk about luggage and shit, right? Now I'm going to get demonetized. I talk about luggage and stuff, but I use Tile probably like 99% of the time for finding my headphones or a camera or something like that. Like I have the full selection of them. I should probably just do a damn video on Tile, but having Apple to not give away headphones, not include headphones in the box anymore. They're not going to do the adapters. They're not going to, eventually Apple's just going to sell you the phone, kind of like what you do with the Apple trade-in program. You literally ship them a phone in a box with nothing else. And it's a box that's provided by them. It's like you take the case off, you take the glass off, you shove the thing in, and that's it. I envision a day and a time where Apple will turn to calling themselves, customizable, the truly customizable experience. I'm back with my air quotes again. And they will sell you an iPhone. And that iPhone, will have no charger and nothing because you can customize it. You can build out your iPhone. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to do that with chargers. So I think Apple will just sell them separately and continue to take things out of the box. But AirTag, great opportunity to stick a little AirTag in the boxes of the new iPhones that are coming out or new Apple products. They stick one in every box. Here, the first time's free. Want some AirTag goodness, kid? Want some Bluetooth AirTag goodness, kid? Once they do that, that's better marketing than anything. They don't need to pull Tile out of the stores to get people to go and see the value of AirTag. And not to mention which, the ability of the Apple. If you just look at Apple, I'm assuming Android's not going to be working on AirTag too well. But if you look at the strength of that environment and the number of people that are always on with their iPhones and they're always on them. And then if there was a way to get the new next gen watch to do something similar with AirTag and then other Apple products to start using this low energy Bluetooth stuff in the background, you've got a pretty darn wide mesh net out there. So I am, yes, I am looking forward to seeing what occurs with that. And K Hodge says, just like Motorola with their customizable phone backs. Yes, the Motorola X phone built in Texas, I think. I think it was built in Texas. It was made in the USA, quote unquote, but you could choose it. That was awesome, man. That was like 2013, 2014, I think, that they started doing that whole thing. It was the customized U phone. I don't think Apple would make that mistake. Motorola clearly paid a lot for that, considering that they had a bunch of people in the last mile kind of sticking things together. But that's a supply chain nightmare. But yeah, I think Apple will quite honestly, they will just do. Apple isn't one to discount stuff. They'll just sell the iPhone in a smaller box, and they'll start selling the chargers and everything in some way that it all physically fits together in one of their Apple bags, and like they'll tout it as some feature. It'll be the first time that they did everything, something like that. But so really, to kind of summarize it, on AirTags, they are now unofficially, officially, depending on their form factor, depending on what they look like and act like. And there's a lot of renders. I'll believe it when I actually see it. And I hope to hell that we see something this week about them, even if it's just discussion about it or something in the code. This is actually the thing that I am hyped for, because I want to see what they can do. I want to leverage that network. And the part I didn't tell you about the Tile stuff, I'll save that for my Tile video. You can lose a Tile. They can go missing. They can disappear off the face of the earth. Who knows how? But I think with the AirTag stuff, it would be a little bit more baked into the OS, into the device. So, all right. In an earlier tweet, moving on. And by the way, if there's any questions or anything anybody has in the chat, certainly let me know. Today being the day of Father's stuff, I am probably going to be wrapping up because I do have some activities to take part in myself. But yeah, I probably won't run this one out too long today. And also, sorry, Michael Pepper says, if you buy a Mac or an iPad as a student, they're throwing in a pair of AirPods at the moment. So is that just like the back to school thing right now? Is that what's going on? Is that the deal that you're talking about, Michael? Or is that just like, are they just kind of spiffing it up because it's like, hey, we've got to get some money back in the door? I was curious about that. And then he also says, will people start hiding AirTags for some new geocaching type of game? So it's funny you're pulling that string. I have a whole other line of thought about the strengths of AirTags, because if you look at what Tile did, Tile has some integrations. They have some integrations with KeySmart. They have some integrations with, I think, Bellroy Wallets and Fossil and some other people to build it into their devices. Skullcandy actually now has it built into a pair of their in-ear earbuds. The case for it has Tile built in. Super cool. I think that's where Apple's gonna move. Because see, if you look long-term strategy, and this is why you're all still here, right? This is you like, does this guy actually think about stuff? Yes, I do sometimes. I just don't always talk about it, like I say in my Twitter bio. But Apple is going away from the port on the iPhone. They're, right now the MFI program made for iPhone used to be made for iPod, then it was made for iPhone. Basically, Apple has an MFI program that if you're going to make something for Apple products with like a lightning connector or something, there's a whole bunch of it. I won't go through. I'll just say Apple has a set of standards that you will pay a licensing fee if you are making something with those standards. And if you aren't making something with those standards, you're probably not going to have a lot of success using it with an iPhone, because they're going to find a way to hack it out in code. So you can make a copycat clone lightning thing that might work today and reverse engineer it, but then they're going to freak you in the code the next time around and drop your stuff. And there is a whole other thing. I'm super glad that it's not a big chat today, because there's going to be somebody in there that's going to go, well, tell me about USB-C. And I'm not going to tell you about USB-C, because Apple's USB-C MFI thing does not really exist, but it sort of does. It only does at the port side on the device. Anyways, AirTags, before we run away, Apple's losing a port. They're losing MFI. That's a big source of revenue right now. Apple gets the super low energy Bluetooth thing, and they go to everybody that's got Tile stuff right now, or everybody that was doing MFI stuff, or Canon or Sony or these other people, and they go and say, hey, you've already got Bluetooth radios, you've already got batteries, you've already got this stuff. You want to write this little giblet in your code to leave your radio on and be, findable by us? And then they start charging, maybe they let the people do that for free, but then they charge the consumers an extra $5 a month on their iCloud for the Find My access. I think that's the other side of it, is you're going to see iCloud stuff changing. I mean, Apple at some point, and this is its whole episode again, but Apple at some point is going to have to they have this News Plus, they've got TV Plus, they've got apps in the App Store, they've got all the TV shows and things like that you can download. They've got Apple Music. They have all these services, and they refuse to bundle them. And now people are like, Apple has to do it at some point. Maybe. I could see Apple doing like a family thing. Once it gets to a really significant value proposition, maybe they would do that for some people. And I could see them putting up a lot of walls around it. Like if you're on the iPhone upgrade program, maybe you can pay, as part of that, you can get all these services. I don't think they're going to do it freelance. But the point is, I would see Apple as redirecting the revenue from the MFI stuff to possibly leveraging some of the smarter technology that they're enabling via Bluetooth and some of the smart tags, or AirTags, whatever. I'm calling them smart tags because that's basically what they are. But I could see them starting to license that out to third parties pretty quickly and easily. That might be why we're waiting on them to drop and share more about it. That could be like the long term. I don't think we're going to see, just to be clear, I don't think you're going to see, if this even materializes, I don't think you're going to see this kind of thing happening very quickly. But I do believe that is a pretty strong likelihood that that's what Apple would do in the future, because, Tile's had some pretty good success with it. Who wouldn't want to partner with Apple on this kind of thing? And especially it would help them get money out of more from consumers and then more from third-party people. I did find a way to say party people, I guess. That's kind of funny. And so K Hodge says that would be a game changer if they place tags in their AirPod cases. Hopefully Samsung would follow suit. Dude, this is exactly where I'm skating to with this stuff. For one thing, you're going to see way more intelligence show up in the actual Apple side of products. They're all going to they already are smarter. I mean, if you haven't done it, if you have something modern from Apple, like a modern MacBook, go shut it off and then try to find it in your app. You can probably find it, maybe, depending. There's a lot of weird variables. It's still hit or miss for me, quite honestly. But the fact that you can totally shut something down and then find it is pretty neat. Doing that with AirPods would be absolutely freaking priceless, and I wouldn't need to stick a tile to the outside of my damn AirPods case. So I would totally love that. So I think, and actually, K Hodge, you brought up I mean, that's the really bigger picture here initially, is Apple's obviously going to be pushing these incremental revs of their products to get later and better hardware into those devices so that they can all participate in this. That would have to come before they roll out any sort of family plan or family program, or they're selling you anything relating to the Find My type of service, because naturally they figured out Tile's getting paid for this, so somebody's going to want to get paid. Apple has to go dump up all of their stuff. But I think that those AirPods Pro especially, like, that's a great differentiator. Like, make the Pro have location ability. And I'm surprised Tech702 has not come in here yet and said, dude, you can already find your AirPods in the app. I'm waiting for somebody's going to say that in there. Yes, you can. You can absolutely see the last time you used them in your ears in the app. You can see the last time the case was open, the last time they were connected to a device. And then when you shut that case, at least today on iOS 13.5 and the current iPods version of, and whatever, who cares? You can see the last time you used them. Now, for me, I never have a problem remembering the last time I used them. That's pretty odd. Like, I'm on the phone, I'm doing this, I'm using them. But then when I close them and I throw them in the center console of my car, but I usually leave them in my door, and then I get back in my car, I'm like, crap, what did I do? Having the ability to, like, ding them or beep them or something like that without them needing to have an interaction would be absolutely amazing. So yes, Bluetooth Low Energy across the board, upgraded bandwidth chips and all that great stuff. Not bandwidth, wideband, more frequencies, more trigger frequencies and things like that. So I think that they're going to, that's where things will be. So you'll see it push out to Apple products. Hopefully this technology spreads, like, very quickly. I feel like in my heart of hearts that this is why Apple is waiting on dropping AirTags, because they've got a much bigger proposition behind the scenes, and you will see this come back around and help out the demise of the MFI side of things when they are losing ports on the iPhones, which is scheduled to happen within the next couple of years. So it'll be interesting. And checking out the chat again here. So Michael Pepper says, iCloud is available on Android phones through the browser, so I could see it. Yes. You mean, yeah, logging into, yes, you can actually get in there and do that. But it still annoys me that every time my wife or I bring our watches near my iPad when we're out and about, it wants to pair to the hotspot, even with hotspot turned off. That's a setting. You can go, at least as far as I know, you can go into your Wi-Fi settings on your watch, and I'm not going to walk through it here. I probably could, but I had that same issue where it would constantly ask to join, and you can change it to never. You can turn it on to auto or never. If you had it on auto, then it's going to just ping your iPad, and then if your iPad doesn't have it set up, then it might trigger that. I have gotten into a weird loop on one of the betas where my iPhones kept trying to connect to each other. This was like the early 13.5 or 13.1 maybe. But in an early beta, my phones were all on Wi-Fi and all, different iCloud accounts and everything like that. But I have some of them in a family and some of them not. And they were, even though they were on Wi-Fi, they would randomly ask to pair to the other one's hotspot. So, and my watch would then drive me absolutely insane. So I'm pretty sure I went into my watch and changed that. I'm not going to do that now and run this out, but thanks for giving me a good video idea. I appreciate it. That is an absolutely annoying thing though. When I had my Apple Watch, I was running it to a new device. I moved over and then I unpaired it I didn't unpair it from my old device, and I shut my old device off, took the other device out that I hadn't moved it to. It's a cellular Apple Watch, which is cool. And then I was like, wait, I don't want cellular on. Why? It's killing my battery life. And I couldn't figure out why. It didn't dawn on me that it was not connected. And then it very quickly did when I was like, wait a minute, why do I keep getting this weird connection notification? So it depends if you set it to automatic or not and how you have your phone set up. That is a really, really cool feature though. I have done that recently. I have a Wi-Fi iPad or an iPad, a cell iPad that I pulled the SIM out of. And if you set that up to be like autonomous, it really is autonomous now, at least on the latest dev beta 13.5. So, or 13.6 or whatever. Gosh, hang on. Let me just look. I hate when I lie. It is, yeah, it is 13.6. Okay, thank you. So, awesome. Hey, that's what I'm here for, man. I'm glad to help. I'm glad to help. So Michael Pepper says he found the setting on the watch. He switched it to automatic. It was on always ask. Always ask is like it's a neat option to have that, but it's kind of like there's an option in Wi-Fi that's like that too. You know, do you want to ask to join anytime there's a Wi-Fi network around? Like, why is that even still on a phone in 2020? I don't get that. Like, who's that? To me, it's like it makes me twitch. I don't want the Wi-Fi networks to know I'm nearby unless I'm at one of these places. Can you like just shut off my Wi-Fi for me and just not connect to anything? But instead, Apple's like, hey, if you want us to tell you about these other open Wi-Fi networks, maybe you want to join them. Like, thanks for nothing. I absolutely don't want that to happen. Give me what the opposite flavor is of that. Thanks, Tim. So yeah, well, I'm glad you fixed that, Michael. That's good to hear. Speaking of getting fixed on Father's Day, such a fitting topic. I am committing here to you guys. So I made a tweet about accountability the other day, and I said, I'm going to need some accountability on this one, kids. So I have a couple of videos that are kind of started off kicking around in the can. I have changed a couple things this week so that I've actually got a little bit of free time. So I am telling you that by this time next week, I might actually preview it. Like I might do like a live and then drop it next week, but I will be getting back to recorded content. It will not be in my car. I know right now on my channel, there are 0 videos of me that are not just driving videos or sort of walking vlog style videos. I have a couple different things that I've been kind of working on in the background here. And it seems like I spend a lot of time making this really neat B-roll that I appreciate and edit and love and then never make the actual video. So this week from me, this time next week, we will probably do a live and I'll probably set it to drop after the live or I'll drop it that morning of. But I quite honestly, I don't want to compete with Tech Heat from Tech 702. If you haven't seen that, by the way, Sundays, usually around 6 a.m. Eastern, he drops a bite-sized news segment that is perfect consumption. If you've missed the planet and you've missed everything, it's a great little 3-minute segment that comes up. I'll throw a link to that. Everything I talk about will be linked in the description. Just understand that. But yeah, that's usually every Sunday morning that he drops that. So I will not be slamming anything out Sunday morning, but I might do something after this, even though they're not really competitive contents. They're 2 totally different things. My commitment to you people, the viewers, is that we will have a video, a produced non-live video. I don't know that I'm going to be able to not drive for the whole thing because I've kind of got to drive for some of it, especially if it involves my car. But just to give you a sneak preview for those who are actually loyal and hanging around, I have done a bunch of iPhone tripod stuff and phone tripod things. Not phone tripods, phone holders. So tripod grips and things that will actually hold your iPhone in a tripod. There is a strange underground religion that I have discovered where people are hell-bent against one brand and they love another one, and then there's the group of people that don't care. There is a bunch of different microcosms on this, but as someone that takes a lot of pictures with their phone and someone that uses one of these things like every day, I kind of always, well, I'll tell you more about that in the video. Yeah, so I've got that coming. I also may or may not have gotten some keyboards for my iPad Pro. I've had the Magic Keyboard. You heard me talk about that, but we've never done a video about it. So I've gotten some of the competition for it to see how those kind of hold up. So those are 2 of the things that I've got that are underway right now. So my commitment to you guys, all you who are here right now, you can hold me accountable. Next week, this time, that video will be premiering. One of them. And there's more. That's the worst part of me. There's more than that. I've got all sorts of stuff that like is in progress because there's always, the shiny object thing. And then the real job comes into play or life or something. So unless I am dead this time next week, there will be a video. And even if I'm dead, I'll still set it to go live, whatever. You guys can watch it some other time. All right. Well, that was pretty morose. So looking at the chat, I have killed it and made sure that everybody has left, which is awesome. And just seeing here. So I think I hit on most of the stuff I wanted to talk about. Also, Crosswhite17. Thank you for showing up every week and commenting, by the way. I don't know if you're watching live or replay crew. I never see you here in the comments. But there's been a couple dialogues back and forth in the comments. If you want to find me on Twitter, I don't know if you're following me on Twitter there. I looked for your username, but if you ever have any questions about the live configs, we've kind of talked about it. Feel free to either find me on Twitter. I'm on Near a Charger on Twitter, or I don't know, show up in one of these chats or something like that. Let me know if you want to see a show about that. I had talked about that. It's kind of a weird back and forth commentary bit in the comments, but I wanted to make sure that I at least shouted that out. And yes, Mr. Pepper called it. So you'll be going dead at the same time next week. That's cool. I'm not, just to be clear, YouTube police. I have no plans of that. So if I do, probably somebody else you want to talk to about that. But I will be going live next week if I'm not dead, is the statement. Sorry. Weird sense of humor here, I guess. But other than that, looking back, once again, thank you to everybody in the chat. If you got any questions, we're going to be wrapping this thing up. Let me know. But in the meantime, thank you, Jason C. It's good to see you, man. Tech 702, K Hodge, technically lurking. Oh, totally misread that. Yeah. Thank you. I thought technically lurking was saying that Mike Tech 702 has a burner account. Apple Monster, K Hodge, technically lurking. Michael Pepper, Tech Talk. Gary from Contractors POV, if you watch this thing later, I missed you, man. I know you're sleeping right now because Gary has had a wacky schedule lately. And also Apple Monster. Yeah, thank you as well, man. Good seeing you. Yeah, so thank you to everybody that's come out in the chat. Thank you to everybody that has joined me today. I have successfully not. That's interesting. I successfully. I blew it out. I blew out my 30-minute thing, but that's okay. Mike, I hope that your travels are safe. By the way, I know he's doing a driving and listening thing, so continue to drive safe. Once again, shout out to all the dads out there and everyone who's got a dad. Congrats. Enjoy your day. Celebrate your day. If you want to see me again, I will be back here next week at this time. I will have a video dropping at some point between now and then, possibly right after this on the tail of it. But between now and then, tomorrow night, Tech Circus, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Michael Pepper, Tech 702. Thursday night, I know Michael Pepper's going to have some sort of a live thing going on. I believe he is. He had some definite technical issues, understatement, over the past week. So hopefully he'll be back this week on Thursday. He might have some other stuff coming up, so make sure you watch him as well. And of course, as you know, like I said, I will be back next week, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Until then, thank you everybody for coming out. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. State line. What? State line. I'm totally dry on this one. Mike, I'm dry. You're never mind. I'm the guy that said he's driving. Good, man. I'm glad to hear you're almost home. That's great. At least part of the way there. I try. All right. Thanks, everyone. We out. Be well. Stay safe. All that good stuff.